Hello, it's that time again. Bird singing this time. I thought it reminded us of the spring, some birds singing, rather than Big Ben chiming all over the place. So that's rather nice. It reminds us of the spring, which is only around the corner. Actually, it's not officially winter yet, is it? 1,000 millibars, 10,001,000, 78, no it's not, 85% humidity. Can't read my writing. Flags going mad, wind from the west. Temperature's about 10°C, so that's what, double it and add 30. It's about 50 Fahrenheit, which isn't too bad, is it? Without further ado, let's get into this Sunday episode. I've called this episode Christmas Television. I don't really know why. It's just that there was something on the radio the other day. They were talking about Christmas TV in the old days, so I thought I'd mention it briefly. Do you remember Morecambe and Wise? Every single Christmas we had Morecambe and Wise, didn't we? Here in Britain, that is. Don't know what you had in America or Australia, wherever else you are in the world. Christmas television, honestly, it got so repetitive that we just didn't bother to watch it in the end. It was the same thing. Do you remember Millicent Martin? Was that her name? Back in the old days, when am I going back to? Can you hear that? Some sort of car alarm now. Back in the old days, Millicent Martin was on just about every single programme on the telly. Whether it was a dance programme, a quiz. There goes the car horn again. What's going on out there? Every single programme she was on telly. Millicent Martin. Then we had every year, of course, Morecambe and Wise. They had the Christmas show every year. I mean, it was pretty good initially, but then we had repeats. It was every year the same old Christmas show, year in, year out. These days we don't really watch TV at Christmas. In fact, that's a lie. I've lied to you already. I said last week, didn't I? I should have been a politician. I keep lying and making mistakes. What was I saying now? Now I forget. Isn't it hopeless? Oh dear. I don't know what I'm doing. A Christmas Carol by Dickens. That is brilliant. There are several versions. I don't like musicals. I just cannot stand musicals. But there is one. Is it Anton Rogers in it? A Christmas Carol musical. I do like that one because they sing my favourite line. I hate people. I hate people. Trish, well, the whole family, right? That's my line as far as they're concerned. I hate people. It's really good though. It doesn't matter who plays, I forget who's played Scrooge now in the various versions, but they're all pretty good. Is it Alistair Sims? I think he's the best one. But we watch that every single, talk about repeats, we watch that every year, all the versions every year. I suppose on TV you have repeats all the time because they can't keep making new programmes, they just haven't got the money, have they? A lot of people seem to be wanting to defund the BBC. Oh, by the way, we had our budget the other day. I watched some of it, then I switched that off. I switched that off because it's boring. In the end, I was trying to watch it where they all meet in the House of Commons. No, this isn't political, don't worry. They're all in the House of Commons. I'm trying to hear what people are saying. There's shouting going on. Tricia calls it the farmyard. Someone says something and they all go, "Rrr, here, 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 rrr." It's just like a farmyard, you know. So I turned it off. I couldn't hear what the woman was saying, the Chancellor woman. Not that I was that interested, but I just thought I'd find out how much less money I'm going to have from now on compared to sort of last year. How much less am I going to have? It just goes down every year. It's official now. In Britain, we've got the highest electricity cost in the world. Our electricity is higher than anyone else's in the world. I think they said 5 times higher than America. So if your bill is, say, £100, or say $100 a month or a quarter or whatever, ours is 500. Stone the crows. People are turning things off. I don't know. Anyway, let's get away from all that rubbish. I should be Prime Minister. That'd be good, wouldn't it? If I were Prime Minister, can you imagine that? Actually, no, I'd hate it. Would you want to be an MP? I would hate to be an MP. Being a councillor on the parish council in the village, that was kind of okay. As I said, I was too young really, but that was okay. In a way, it was quite good fun. At times, it really was quite good fun. people complaining that woman over the road is having an affair. Well, that's nothing to do with the parish council. Yeah, but I thought I should let you know. I've seen a man go there. She goes out, and I've seen them in the village holding hands, walking together. She's having an affair. Okay, well, I'll make a note. I'll bring it up at the next parish council meeting. Let's put it in the village magazine. There was a little village magazine, actually. One of the villagers used to do it on this is before computers, on a duplicating machine, where you do your stencil, you type your stencil, then you wrap it round the ink roller, put in your sheets of A4 paper, and then you go and it reels out all these bits of paper. Then you do the next page, and then you get the whole lot, you fold it, you staple it and fold it, and it sort of becomes a little magazine, a magazinette. Can you say that? A small magazine, a magazinette. You can say booklet. And there was all sorts of rubbish in there. The vicar used to put rubbish in there about the church. No one was interested in what he was doing. He was strange. Anyway, I'll tell you about him another time. What were those duplicating machines called? Not Rolex, that's a watch, isn't it? Rolex? No. I must look that up in a minute. That's annoying. My grandfather had one. And he made a little magazine for where he lived, just for some locals. I don't know what for. It was called Sunrise. And on the front, he wrote Sunrise and then drew a little picture of a rising sun. I'm not sure what it was about. I used to look at it and think, well, this is rubbish. And he had one of those duplicating machines. I don't know what it was called. It wasn't Rolex, something like that. I've just looked it up. I had to look it up. It's Roneo, Roneo, Roneo Duplicator. It was good. I remember having a go on it. The stencil, you could not only type on it, but you could draw with a special sort of pointed type metal pen thing. So you could draw pictures on it or whatever, sketches, put it on the ink roller, wrap it round the roller, and then, of course, it would print that. They were pretty good back in the day. This was the 50s. Yes, because I was a child, so it was the 50s when he had this duplicating machine. Of course, these days there's computers and printers and goodness knows what. All that old office equipment that we used to have, it's all gone now, isn't it? It's all old antique stuff. Everything is computerised. I had an old typewriter many, many moons ago. That was good, except it used to seize up now and then. All the little type head things would all go at once. And you'd have to unwrap them all from each other. I had an electric typewriter. That was pretty good. Was it the golf ball type, I think they called it? That was quite good. All very noisy, though. And, of course, you can't correct mistakes. Well, you could correct mistakes with Tipex. Do you remember Tipex? No need for that anymore, of course. On your computer, you get it all about right and then print it. That's if your printer works. That's another nightmare. Aren't printers awful? I go to print something and it says, no printer found. What do you mean, no printer found? Look, it's sitting there. Connect to it. What's the matter with you? No, can't find a printer. Hopeless. Actually, this computer I'm using now, it won't print. What I have to do, if I want to print something, I have to email it to myself, go to my iPad, open it there and print it from the iPad. I think I'll go back to the old typewriter. The duplicator used to go wrong. Typewriters used to seize up and go wrong. The ribbon would jam or whatever it did. But they were easy to fix. You could fix it yourself. A lady, or no, I mustn't be sexist, a person, an office person, if the ribbon got mangled or ran out or whatever, they, not he or she, they could replace it themselves, sort it out themselves. Things back then, although they were very mechanised, everything was mechanical, moving parts everywhere, but it could easily or fairly easily be fixed. You won't believe this. I've had another email from Marion. Hello, Marion. Have you spent your fiver yet? My fiver, I should say. She wants another bet. I bet you, she says, that you'll say New Year, you'll mention New Year before the 1st of January. The trouble is, Marion, if I take this bet from you, then everyone will want to start betting. As I said the other day, it'll cost me hundreds of pounds. I'll perhaps do this one bet with you then, Marion, OK? Just this one with you. £5. I won't say New Year before the 1st of January. I'm going to lose another fiver, aren't I? Well, let's move on before I end up broke. Dave had a good idea. He said, do you remember Spot the Deliberate Mistake? Was it a radio program? It was a DJ, wasn't it? A radio programme, I forget which station. You'd have to spot the deliberate mistake. He might say, for example, the really hot summer back in 1876, Well, it was 1976, wasn't it? That's not a very good example, but things like that. The trouble is, Dave, there's so many mistakes in my podcast episodes, you wouldn't know which one is deliberate. But we'll do that, shall we? We'll start it off this week. In this episode, I will include a deliberate mistake in this episode, and we'll see how many of you spot it. Email me if you spot it, raiserants@protonmail.com. Christmas television was good in the old days because they weren't repeats then all the time. Morecambe and Wise did their show each year, and it obviously wasn't a repeat, whereas now it is because they're not here anymore, so we can only see them again and again. But the radio was also good back then because new records came out. Every Christmas you'd have the Christmas #1 record. I know we do these days, but on the radio, what do we hear every single year? Noddy Holder, right? It's Christmas every year. It was a great record in its time for Christmas, but do we have to have that every single year on the radio, played 500,000 times? Then we've got Cliff Richard, is it Mistletoe and Wine? It's the same old stuff. Bing Crosby and David Bowie, they do that drummer boy thing. We know what's on the telly. This is why we don't bother to put it on, apart from watching A Christmas Carol for the 100,000,000th time. Of course, television in the old days, we only had a couple of channels. Well, originally one channel in the 50s. Then ITV came along, so we had two. Then BBC Two, and then Channel 4. And now, of course, we've got 500,000 channels full of rubbish. But back then, listen to those seagulls going mad. They really are going mad. There could be a storm or something brewing. I think it's meant to rain this afternoon. Oh, by the way, the cherry tree leaf is still at the top. With so few channels back then, they couldn't really do a lot of repeats because there weren't any repeats to do. And of course, TV wasn't on 24 hours a day as it is now. You know, you can wake at 2 or 3 in the morning and turn the telly on, probably watch an old episode of Steptoe and Son or Emmerdale Farm. Who wants to watch Emmerdale Farm at 2 in the morning? I suppose some people do. I know a chap who's a baker and he works all night. He has the radio on all night. I suppose he could have the telly on, couldn't he? I was just thinking about it. We do have the radio on more than the telly. Well, I say the radio. It's not a radio anymore, is it? It's internet stuff. We do listen to that more than have the TV on because you can move around, you can get on with what you're doing, you can have a chat. Whereas with the telly, you've got to sit there and stare at it. They were saying somewhere recently on the telly, talking of tellies, about people not having television anymore, not having that in your lounge, your living room, the big screen telly. They were saying that fewer and fewer people are sitting down to watch the telly. They'll have a laptop on while they're perhaps cooking, or in your garage doing something, or in my radio room here, building a spy radio transmitter as I am. The old Paraset spy transmitter. I'm building that. And what I sometimes do is watch telly on my iPad. I don't mean a TV programme so much, but the news, if I want to catch up with that, find out what the weather forecast is, which is totally wrong anyway. Very rarely do we sit in the lounge and watch TV, per se. I miss the days of a transistor radio in the kitchen, on the kitchen windowsill, perhaps above the sink. So you're standing there doing a bit of washing up, looking out of the window at the garden, listening to the radio. Have a radio in the bedroom. Teenage kids, or even younger, would have a transistor radio in their bedroom, a record player. That was good, wasn't it? Your stash of records there, and then tapes. I've just been given a tape recorder, by the way, another reel-to-reel tape recorder. Unfortunately, it's going to be scrap. It's that far gone. There's nothing I can do with it. It's 70s, very old, but it's wrecked, which is a shame. I've still got my decent reel-to-reel, my Tandberg, which is good. But I was hoping to restore this one, but it's just too far gone, which is a shame. But we had a transistor radio in the summer, sitting in the garden. You'd have your little transistor radio with you. You're listening to some, I don't know, pirate station or maybe the Light programme, the BBC Light programme. Jimmy Young. What's the recipe today, Jim? Do you remember all that? That was good radio. You get involved with the DJ. You're listening to what he's saying. He's not just bigging up himself. Well, look at me. I'm a DJ. Look at me. Aren't I good? No, you're not good. You're an idiot. Listeners back then were more involved in the radio station, identifying with some things the DJ would say, have a chat, join in sort of thing, even if it's only in their own mind, they would join in. You know what I mean, don't you? There is something we do watch on the telly, that's these old black and white films. Have you heard of the Scotland Yard? This is on the Talking Pictures channel. Scotland Yard is good. Then there's 999. That's what you do when you're in England and you want to call the police. You dial 999. Robert Beatty is it as Mike Maguire. And it's all pathetic. Rubbish storylines. I don't know who wrote it, but it's dreadful. But it's good old stuff from the late 50s, early 60s, I suppose. I love looking at the old cars, the buildings, the way people dressed back then, the shops. It's good telly, and Trish likes it as well, so we do watch that together. Unfortunately, Christmas seems to be disappearing from town centres, shopping centres. We used to have a big tree here, which was great. I don't know whether they still do. I think they have one out at Goring somewhere. But we had a big tree here, all the festive lights and the decorations everywhere. It's all fading away, it's slowly dying. It's a shame because as a child I'd go downtown with my mum and there's all the Christmas music and the lights. It was great. It seems to be dying some sort of death now, but I suppose that's progress for you. Here in Britain there seems to be a lot of doom and gloom. People aren't as happy as they used to be. People aren't so jolly as they used to be. Pubs were good. Here we go, pubs again. No, seriously, pubs were good. They were hubs of the community and all this I've talked about before. You go into a pub, there's people laughing, the chink of glasses. That's gone. We do go into pubs on the very odd occasion, hardly ever, because of the price of the booze. And that's not the pub's fault. That's the government with tax and all that rubbish. But when we do go into a pub, it's subdued. It's not as it used to be. The chink of glasses, the laughter, people telling jokes. Well, you daren't tell a joke now. You'd probably get arrested. That seems to have gone. There is, I think it's fair to say, a lot of doom and gloom around. What do you think? If you're in Britain or any country, where are you? Australia, Rob? Have you got doom and gloom down there? America? Spain? I know we've got some listeners in South America. Is there doom and gloom in Brazil? I don't think that's an exaggeration. There does seem to be this, not despair exactly, but I don't know, can't be bothered with it all. It's all miserable. Doom and gloom. The seagulls are going mad today. I don't know what their problem is. Bit of a breeze from the east. No, west. I'm lying again. I'm in political mode again, telling lies. It's Black Friday, whatever that is. I think Black Friday is where you go downtown or online and spend millions of pounds. They keep warning on the TV and on the radio about scams. Be careful, this could be a scam, that could be a scam. Makes me wonder what it's all about. Also, Black Friday seems to be not a Black Friday as such, but a black month, where the entire month is all these deals and offers and special scams or whatever they are. In the old days, we had the January sales. Now it seems that we have 6 months of sales. Just goes on and on. That chap's out in the street again with his power tool, whatever it is. I don't know what he's doing. Sawing something up, drilling something. Just going back to the Village magazine again. It was run by a lady. She was a nice enough... Well, she wasn't really nice enough. I don't know why I said that. That leaf is still up there on the cherry tree. It's hanging on. Sorry, I digress. She used the magazine, really. She was the kind of editor and the printer. She did all of it. It was a mouthpiece for her. Rather than a Village magazine, it ended up her mouthpiece, her political views. People should do this, people should vote for this, vote for that. It ended up like that, and of course a lot of people couldn't be bothered with it in the end. They didn't read it. And when she started to include things in the magazine, such as mentioning no names or street number, but there's a house in so-and-so avenue or so-and-so street where the front garden is an atrocious mess. It's about time the lawn was cut and it was tidied up. It's spoiling the look of the entire village. Of course, everyone knew which house it was, and she was becoming more and more like this, a little bit like the lady that kept complaining to the parish council about various things. There was one thing she printed in the magazine, and she nearly ended up in court. Is it libel or slander? She was going on in this article about a particular family and the way they treated their children. It was nothing bad, it's just that the kids were usually late for school. I won't go into all the details. The mother was a little bit haphazard, didn't really have her act together, but the children were looked after, it was all okay, and she nearly ended up in court I'm not sure whether it's libel or slander, but that saw the end of the magazine. That was it. Everyone had had enough then. Which is a shame, because the original idea, a bit like today in our street here, we've got a WhatsApp group. And not every house in the street is a member of the group, but I'd say, 85% are a member of the group. And it's really useful. It's good. It works. If there's a problem somewhere or someone needs some help, they go on the WhatsApp group. Well, the magazine was good. It told people about village life, what was going on. I think it was a monthly magazine. So if there was a problem, people would hear about it in the magazine. They'd read about it. But of course, it all came to a sad end. And as I say, she nearly ended up in court. I think she went and saw the family in the end and apologised. What did come out of it, there was some good that came out of it. Some of the locals went and gave the mother some help. She was on her own with the children. I think her husband worked abroad, or perhaps she didn't even have a husband, I'm not sure. But she was struggling. So a few people local to her helped her out. They did various things to help with the children and whatever. So some good did come out of it. But it was a shame, though, the magazine disappeared. I won't say too much about the young vicar, but he was always having young mums meetings and things like that. I suppose the term these days, yummy mummies, would have applied back then. Of course, we didn't have that term, yummy mummies. He was only in his, 30s. He wasn't married. He was the vicar of the local church, and he liked the young ladies. Now, that was fine. We all liked the young ladies in the village. That was fine. But he used to have these meetings. Oh, young mums, drop your kids at school and then come to the church. Come and have a coffee morning in the church with me. That, that got a little bit out of hand. His notice is on the church notice board outside. Young mums coffee morning, Thursday. Young mums coffee evening, Friday. It just went on. It got out of hand in the end. And rumour had it at the time that someone, I think it was some husbands, went to see him and they put him right about their young wives. We don't want our wives to keep coming to your coffee mornings, your coffee evenings, and whatever else it is you do to get all the young mums together. So that that was the end of that. He was a likeable chap in some ways, but in other ways he was rather strange. He came round to see us at our bungalow a few times, and, well, I won't go into that, but otherwise I'll end up, is it slander or libel? I never know which is which, but he was rather a strange chap. Just before we leave the village, I must tell you about the window cleaner. There was a window cleaner, I think there was more than one, quite a lot of houses in the village, quite a few hundred houses, so there was more than one. But this one window cleaner, people used to call him Tom. Can you guess why? Peeping Tom. Have you heard of that expression, that term, outside of Britain? I wonder, do you have peeping Toms in other countries? That's where a chap will spy through people's windows. I'm not quite sure what they expect to see, but this used to happen a lot back when I was a child. In fact, there was one occasion I was in the front garden with my dad and a friend of his, and we were just chatting, or they were chatting. This friend was about to leave, and a chap over the road was looking through a lounge window over there, someone's lounge window. There was a crack in the curtains, and he was looking. Parked outside was his bicycle, and my dad shouted out, "Oi, what are you doing?" And this chap looked round, ran to his bike and cycled off like a maniac. And I said to my dad, I think I was 10 or 12, I said, "What was he doing?" He said, "That's a peeping Tom." A peeping Tom? Wow, that's interesting. What do they do? Anyway, he didn't say too much about it. But this window cleaner, he ended up with the nickname Tom, because he was always, although he was cleaning windows, he was always spying through people's windows. Normally a window cleaner would just go up to the window, clean it, leather it off, dry it and all that business, and then carry on. This chap, he would spend quite a long time, and also he cleaned windows in the evenings, which was a bit odd. Dusk was falling, curtains were drawn, but perhaps not completely, little gap in the curtains, so he's pretending to clean the windows and spying through the gap in the curtains. A weird chap he was. I think it was a group of husbands that put him right in the end. No one wanted him cleaning their windows, especially the husbands with the younger wives, the younger families. They didn't want that window cleaner spying through their windows. From what I've said about the village, you're probably thinking, what sort of place was that? What sort of community did you live in? It wasn't all bad, and it wasn't the only villages. All villages, they're small communities, aren't they? Close-knit communities. Everyone knows what everyone else is doing. There are always rumours flying around and things happening. She did this. Have you seen what he did over there? She said that. There's always this stuff going on, neighbours gossiping. There probably aren't always young vicars inviting young mums round to the church for various things. And there probably aren't window cleaners all over villages spying through windows. But you never know, do you? Do you have any stories? Do you live in a village? Any local gossip you'd like to share with us? You can change the names if you want to protect the guilty. So let me know, raiserants@protonmail.com. In any community, whether it's 1950 or now, 2025. It's not 2025 for much longer, is it? A few weeks now. No doubt Marilyn's taking notes to make sure I don't mention certain things. But in any community, whether it's a street or a small village or whatever it is, a block of flats, for example, everyone knows everyone else in the block of flats, what they're doing, what they're up to. It's quite funny, really. I can't be bothered with it all. I can't be bothered with what other people are doing in the road, you know. We're all pretty friendly in our street here, which is nice. We all get on all right. Everyone says hello. In fact, this Sunday, when you'll be listening to this, we've got not a street party, but a street selling thing where we've had notices around. We've got one in our car, one on the window about this Sunday, where people will set up a table out in the front garden on their driveway, and we're selling bits and pieces. And it's been fairly widely advertised locally. We're getting a few bits and pieces together. Anything you don't want, sell it out the front there on your table, which should be quite good as long as it's not raining. We don't want rain and wind and ice and snow and hail. Otherwise it'll be cancelled, which will be a shame, because again, that brings the community together. I've had yet another email from the Met Office about rain and wind on Monday. That's when you'll be listening to this on the 1st, won't you, of December, Sunday. So that's on Monday, wind and rain. I don't know. Don't know what this weather's doing. It's not cold at the moment. It's Saturday now. It's not cold. It's just windy. And that fine rain. Mother-in-law calls it wet rain. I suppose she's right, isn't she? There again, all rain is wet, isn't it? Surely. Went to the club last night, music quiz. Didn't win anything. Not a penny, not a dime. But it wasn't too loud. It wasn't too bad at all, actually. Quite enjoyed that. Had a couple of beers, then we came home. And I had a jam sandwich and a cup of tea in bed. Bliss. Dave, who comes with us, he hates that. He says it's disgusting. Eating in bed is disgusting. I love it. Jam sandwich and a cup of tea. Nothing like it. Just going back to Christmas television. I do remember when I was young, getting up on Christmas Day. I can say Christmas now because I've paid my £5. Getting up on Christmas morning. We didn't turn the telly on because we had, 2 channels? I think, by then we had BBC and ITV, independent television. 2 channels, and they weren't on. Not kind of 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. It was only in later years that the TV started coming on earlier in the day. It used to start on the BBC. What do? They started at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. They had the test card on in the day. Then at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it was children's hour. And then the 6 o'clock news. And then it was adult TV for the evening. So no TV all day until 5 in the afternoon. Look at it now. You can wake at 2 in the morning. Turn the telly on. 2 o'clock in the morning, which is quite useful if you're working. I don't know, say you're working somewhere where you are able to have the telly on. You can't really do that in a busy office. Mind you, a busy office, you wouldn't be working all night, would you? What do you think about shift work? I heard years ago that people that do shift work, as in my friend who's a baker, I think he starts at 11 in the evening, finishes about 4 or 5 in the morning. He does the baking and everything for the shop the next day, for the fresh bread and cakes and whatever else they do. But I did hear that it's not good for you. Over a long period of time, many years, you get into that routine of sleeping when it's daylight and you're awake when it's dark. It's back to front. I've never done shift work like that, so I wouldn't know. But I remember a taxi driver saying to me once, He was giving me a lift home from somewhere at night, I can't remember where, in my teens. And he said, the trouble is with this job, he said, it rots your teeth. And I said, what do you mean it rots your teeth? Driving a taxi? He said, yes, because you're up half the night. He said, your body's all out of sync or whatever, and it's not good for your teeth. I mean, is that true? I don't know. I've no idea. Look at that flag blowing from the west. As I said, it's about 12 degrees. It's not cold out there, about 12 degrees. It's just wet and this horrible wind. It'll soon be springtime, won't it? We'll soon have the crocus, the daffodils, snowdrops, all popping their little heads up out of the soil or the snow, if we get any. And then we can look forward to the summer. I do remember with daytime television, was it BBC, Pebble Mill at 1? Pebble Mill is a studio, or was. Is it near Birmingham somewhere? They started having Pebble Mill at 1, which was a bit of a discussion programme, I think, about the news, current affairs, bits and pieces like that. And then, of course, TV got earlier and earlier in the morning. Then you started, I don't know when breakfast television started. That came along and surprised a few people. I do remember it starting, but I forget which channel it was, and I forget when it was. But I do remember breakfast TV starting. I thought it a bit odd. People were busy getting ready for school, getting ready to go to work, having breakfast, doing this and that. You're not going to sit there watching television, are you, in the lounge? That's where the TV was normally. Then people started having a little portable telly in the kitchen. I remember that. Now, I have no idea when that was. Was it the 80s? I can't remember. People started putting a little TV in the kitchen. So when you're doing the cooking or whatever, you can watch telly. And then, of course, people started watching telly while they're having their meal. They're sitting at the kitchen or the dining room table watching telly. Either that or they took their dinner on a tray into the lounge and watched telly there. Do you remember TV dinners, they called them? I'm not sure what they were all about. A little tray thing that you put in the microwave, was it? Talking of that, Trish just called me downstairs. Our microwave's just blown up. That's the end of that. So we'll have to buy a new one. They're cheap enough, aren't they? So there were TV dinners, which meant exactly what it says. You can sit there watching the TV while you're eating your dinner. Not really a good idea. We do have a TV-free room. That's the dining room. People have said, why don't you have a TV in the dining room as well as the lounge? No, we've got our music gear in the dining room, and that's where we can sit and listen to the radio, listen to some music, have the patio doors open in the summer, listen to the birds, watch the squirrels come in, telling us they're starved when they've already had a load of food. It's nice to have one room at least where there's no television. Of course, back in the old days, there was only one television in one room normally. Some of the well-off people with a big house, they had a couple of televisions perhaps, but not all over the place like they do now. Kitchen, dining room, lounge, conservatory. People have a telly in the conservatory. In a summer house, I know people have got a TV in the summer house down the garden. You don't need a television down there. The idea of the summer house in the garden is to enjoy the summer weather, listen to the wildlife, the birds singing. You don't want the blasted TV on wherever you go. It's dreadful, especially with the adverts where, you know, me and adverts, we just don't get on. Or should that be adverts and me? Get the grammar police after me. Rather than a television, people had the radio on, or the wireless as we called it back then. Now the wireless, especially when transistor radios came along, you could take it from room to room, even out into the garden. Now that was amazing. I remember one of our neighbours, when I was a child, he wandered into our back garden, silly old fool. He was a weird old chap, he was. He wandered into the back garden. How come that radio's working there? He said, pointing to it on the lawn where I was sitting. And I said, well, it's a battery radio. He said, well, where are the wires? Where's the aerial? Because he was used to the big old rabbit hutch type wooden box radios, you know, from years gone by. And he couldn't understand it. He said to me, I remember, he said, it's smoke and mirrors. It's not real, it's smoke and mirrors. I said, well, no, it's a real radio. And I showed him, I picked it up and I showed him, but he didn't sort of, I don't know. He was a weird chap. He was the one that was a headmaster of a boys' school, public boys' school. Don't you know? What? Strange chap he was. That's the one that said that he was 70 years and 10. Do you remember I told you that? 70 years and 10. Well, I'm 70 years and 14 then in that case. 74. Oh, that reminds me, I'm still getting emails. Thank you for all your emails about the time 5:20 past 4, 5:20 to 3. A lot of you have said you've heard of that, but you did never understand what it was about. It was my nan that used to say that. Oh, look, it's 5:20 past 5. What? You mean it's 25 past 5? No, it's 5:20 past 5. Why not say it's 10 and 5 past 1, which is quarter past 1, isn't it? Why not say that? It's all rather weird. It's all very odd. And as North Carolina Sun said, in America, you don't say it's 10:30 or 11:30. You say it's 10:30. Is it 10:30? Is that what you say? I forget which way round it is now. I'll have all the Americans screaming at me now. You say it's 10:30, don't you? Not 10:30, I think. Talking of radios, I've got rather a nice one here. A Texan S2000. Nice radio, got shortwave on it and all that sort of thing. I've had it for a few years. Tricia came in here and I saw her looking around, eyeing up things. She's looking, what's that? And I could almost hear her thinking. Then she said, you see that radio there? And pointed to the Texan. I said, yeah, nice radio. She said, they're about £250 second hand on eBay. I said, yes, I know. That's quite a nice radio, that. And I said, well, why are you looking up prices of my radios on eBay? Oh, nothing, she said, no, nothing. It is our table sale tomorrow. I'm just perhaps thinking of selling one or two bits. I said, you're not selling my radios. She said, no, I wouldn't sell those on the table sale in the street. She said, they would go on eBay. eBay? No, they're not going on eBay. That's my radio. Who remembers jumble sales in the old days? Did you have that sort of thing in America, Australia? You had garage sales, didn't you? That's sort of what we're doing on Sunday tomorrow. A sort of garage sale, but it's not a garage. It's out on the front drive. We haven't got a garage anyway. But it's the same sort of thing. You just pile a load of stuff out there. People wander along, hopefully buying things, bits and pieces. And if everyone in the street has their tables out there, it might be quite good as long as it doesn't rain. But do you have jumble sales in other countries? Because in Britain here, I don't know whether we still do. Actually, we must do. A lot of schools used to do it in the old days. During the school holiday, they'd have, like the summer holiday, they'd have a jumble sale. People all collect what they call jumble, which is old clothes, coats, bits and pieces, anything, ornaments, vases, kitchen stuff, cutlery, whatever. You take it all to the school, where they'd sort through the whole lot and put it in the big hall on tables. They'd have tables all the way round. And then the jumble sale would start, I don't know, say Sunday morning, 10 o'clock. And people used to pile in there. Old ladies mainly. I'm not being rude or sexist to old ladies. But they used to pile in there, these old ladies, rummaging about, almost fighting, grabbing a coat. I've seen a couple of old ladies, one on each end of a coat, tugging it. That's mine, I saw it first. No, it's mine. Stone the crows. And it's an old coat for 2 and 6pence or something, half a crown. Everything sold, or just about everything. I do remember towards the end of a jumble sale, people were leaving because there's hardly anything left, and what was left was rubbish. And the place was a disaster. Things on the floor, clothes all over the floor that people didn't want. You know, some of the jumble wasn't really fit for selling. And it looked like there'd been a war in there in the main hall of the school. But the school used to take a lot of money. I don't know whether it was money for the school or a certain local charity or something. But the jumble sales, they were quite good fun. And the scouts and the Girl Guides, they used to do jumble sale things and go around collecting jumble. I remember them knocking on the door. Have you got anything you don't want? Old clothes or ornaments, anything you don't want? And my mum would say, she'd come to the door and she'd say, oh, hang on a minute, I'll sort something out. In fact, we do sometimes have a plastic sack thing put through the letterbox, collecting jumble for this or jumble for that or whatever. So yes, they're obviously still going. Of course, car boot sales came along. Much later on, this was car boot sales, where people didn't give jumble away, they sold it themselves and made some money. Car boot sales became incredibly popular, and HMRC, that's His Majesty's Revenue and Customs, they used to send people round, spies, to the boot sales, and they'd question people. Why are you selling what's all this stuff here? This is all brand new stuff. What are you doing? Are you running a business? No, I'm just clearing out my shed. No, you're not. You've got brand new equipment here. Where'd you get it from? Well, I bought it and didn't want it. And of course, they get busted, have to pay tax because they were running a business. A lot of people did go to the boot sales every weekend because they were running a business, buying and selling, actually running a business, and some of them making a lot of money. So, of course, the revenue spies used to go around to have a look, see what's going on, see who's selling what, and they're there every week. They make a note of it. I heard on telly the other day that people are now going around boot sales, car boot sales, and busting the sellers because they're selling, for example, a load of second-hand power tools, loads and loads of power tools. They've been stolen. Not all of them, of course, but a lot have been stolen from people's vans. Electrician's van, plumber's van, they break into the vans, nick all the power tools and sell them cheap at a boot sale. And they were saying on the telly, they did a bit of a thing on the news about it. They were showing you some of the power tools, got people's name on it, postcode, things like that. So they knew where it had come from. And they were just blatantly selling this stuff. Anyway, they got busted. I think that's awful, stealing from people's vans, well, or their houses, stealing anything from anyone. Bicycles seem to be stolen left, right and centre, and no one stops people. They go up there with a battery-powered angle grinder and they're cutting through the bicycle lock. People are just walking by. I suppose they're afraid to intervene because they'll probably get, I don't know. It's scary, isn't it, when people can openly steal things in the street and no one does anything about it. Never any cops around when you need them. My spy radio is coming on, my World War II replica spy radio. They used to carry them around in a suitcase. Told you about that, didn't I? That's coming on nicely, almost ready to fire up. Hope it works. If not, I'll have to find out why. I've got to build the wooden box for it, and then I've got to find a little suitcase to put the whole thing in, which is what they carried it around in the wartime. That must have been scary, operating that behind enemy lines, sending Morse code and receiving Morse code to and from London. Very scary if you get caught. It's bad enough these days getting caught running a pirate radio station, playing music on the air without a licence. Ofcom come and bust you. But you only get fined and they'll probably nick the transmitter. But back then, of course, they did more than just fine you and take your gear away. They did a lot more than that. But at least some people were prepared to do it. Can you imagine being asked, do you want to go behind enemy lines? Take this little suitcase with you. There's a transmitter and receiver in there. You've got to send and receive Morse code. Okay, tell us what's going on back in London. And if you're unlucky enough and you get caught, you'll probably be killed. Your mission, should you decide to accept it, was that not the professionals? What was that? I can't remember. Do you remember the little tape recorder? It would go around. This tape will self-destruct in 30 seconds. Then a load of cigarette smoke would come out of the little tape recorder box. You could see it was cigarette smoke. Anyway, yes, they must have been very brave, those people. I don't think that's the sort of thing that the majority of people would do. Go behind enemy lines with a spy radio, clandestine equipment, and send Morse code messages back to England. Talking of wartime things, a friend of mine's got a Willys Jeep, an American Jeep, and he wants an American radio for it, some kind of shortwave transmitter and receiver, a genuine type thing that was fitted during the war years into American Jeeps. And he can't find anything. There's one or two things he's found on eBay, but they wanted, what was it he said, a radio for a Jeep, not really the right thing, and it didn't work. £600. I mean, come on, it didn't even work. So I've been asking around for him. I don't think we're going to find anything though. But he did suggest that we put the little spy radio in the suitcase, take it up the downs, because you can run it from a 12-volt battery as a power supply for that. Go up the downs and I can send and receive some Morse code. See if we can make contact with anyone. No, I don't mean people behind enemy lines or GCHQ or anything like that, but just other radio amateurs, other radio hams. Be good fun, have a little contact on a replica spy radio. That's enough about spy radios. Talking of television in the old days, not necessarily Christmas, whenever we had a general election, do you remember was it BBC or ITV? I think it was BBC. They did the swingometer. When you get a football match, a big football match coming along, before the match, they're analysing everything. They're talking about if they do this, if they do that, and they should have so-and-so defenders and leave him off and call him in later. All this analysing stuff before the match has even been played. Then afterwards, there's all the analysing again. He did this, he did that. Had he been in that position there, they wouldn't have got that goal, and it goes on like that. Well, the general election is, well, it's still like that when we have an election. There's loads of talk about it and what's going on. And they had a swingometer, which was a big sort of thing on, I don't know, they made up this big needle thing on a chart, and it would swing towards sort of Labour or Conservative. And it was crazy, the swingometer. Who remembers that? I don't think they have a swingometer now, but they were discussing it all before, during and after the election. A bit like bonfire night. It's not only the 5th of November, it's 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after. It's bonfire month, really. Same with this shopping stuff, Black Friday they call it. It's not Black Friday, it's Black Month. It's the entire month, or more than that, where everything is discounted, cheap, for sale at rock bottom prices and all this rubbish. Total change of subject. Did I tell you our niece went into hospital the other day, bless her cotton socks? She had her appendix out. She had bad stomachache or low down sort of aching thing. Went to the hospital, they said, oh, we've got to take your appendix out. So that was that. She's now home and recovered. That was quick. In the old days, you'd have a baby in the old days, you're in hospital for a month or more, 6 weeks. These days, right, in, out, next. Go on, clear off with your baby. Off you go. Who's next? Everything is so quick, isn't it? It was keyhole surgery, all done very quickly, very efficiently. It's amazing, really, what they can do these days. I remember people saying that when I was a boy. It's amazing what hospitals can do these days, you know. And this was the 50s. Well, it's even more amazing now, isn't it? Thinking of things people used to say back then. I remember when I was young, I remember older people saying, youngsters, you know, they won't get a mortgage. They won't be able to get a mortgage now. House prices are going up. Look at the deposit you need. You won't get a mortgage. And of course, we all got a mortgage, didn't we? Then we're talking about our children. They won't get a mortgage these days. House prices are going, oh, the deposit you need. Oh, dear, won't get a mortgage. They've all got mortgages. I know things are becoming more expensive, aren't they? It's no good saying, oh, well, back then, you know, a Mars bar, it was kind of sixpence, and now it's whatever it is. It's a dreadful increase. That's not the way to do it, is it? You've got to look at what sixpence back then is worth now. And it's quite surprising. You take something like a colour telly, when they came out, they were what, £250, 300 quid or something? You look at that now, it's about £10,000. Well, not quite, but it's a huge amount of money. Huge, I tell you. We're doomed. Who likes Dad's Army? Doomed we are, we're doomed. I like that. It's Fraser, isn't it? The Scottish chap, Dad's Army. Happy days. Now, that's reminded me of something else. I said 250, didn't I? 250, 300. Now, in America, you don't say something like £1,600. You'll say 1,600, won't you? We will say £2,300. You'll say 2,300. That's interesting, isn't it? Is that interesting? No, you'll say, no, it's not. Well, I find it interesting. I like the differences between American English and kind of British English. It's quite interesting. Let me think of some examples. We say data and you say data. Someone was saying the other day that in America they asked for a glass of water and the lady serving wasn't quite sure what they meant. Water? Oh, you mean water? Water. I thought that was funny. Loads of differences. It's nice, though, having the difference, even though it's all speak English, like Australian. G'day, cobber, and all this stuff. It's all interesting. Well, I think it is. I love the etymology of words as well, where they came from. A lot of it comes from Latin, Greek, of course, and all this stuff. German. Is it German? I can't. What's the word? Germanic? Oh, I don't know what it is. You know what I mean, don't you? Whenever I'm not sure of something or I can't explain it, I get out of it by saying, you know what I mean, don't you? You probably don't. Many decades ago, when I taught English as a foreign language to students, Spanish students, Portuguese, French, I taught English to them, you know, when they came over here. If I wasn't sure of something, one of them might say something like, what's the past participle of something or other? And I'm thinking, oh, blah, 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 I don't know. I'd say, oh, good question. Now, who can answer that? Past participle of blah, blah, blah. Anyone, hands up? Some clever clogs would put his hand up or her hand up. I know what it is, and they'd tell the class. And I'd say, you're quite right, well done. I have said that on the odd occasion when they've been wrong and someone else has corrected them and me for saying that it is right when it's wrong. But you can get out of these things. You kind of play the class like an audience. Right, yes, you're quite right. Well spotted. I deliberately said that was right when I knew it was wrong. And I used to have a briefcase on my desk at the front of the class, an opened briefcase. So if someone asked me a question I didn't know the answer to, I've got my English books in the briefcase. I mean, this didn't happen a lot, but on the odd occasion, you get some, I nearly swore then, clever clogs, ask a question deliberately. They try to catch me out. So I had, of course, we didn't have iPads back then. I had my English books, my grammar books and stuff in my briefcase, and I'd just look it up. I'd say, good question, right? Does anyone know that? While they're all sort of thinking about it, I'm looking it up, and I'd say, right, you obviously don't know that, so I'll tell you, and I'd read it out of the book. Well, not read it out of the book, I'd change the words slightly. These days, of course, I could just whisper into my iPhone, what's the past participle of blah, blah, blah? Oh, yeah, thank you. Cheating or what? I know it's not quite an hour this week, but Trish and daughter number 3 are in the loft, in the attic, above my head, above my ceiling. And there's banging around going on and chatting going on. So I think I'll end it here anyway. It's only 10 minutes to go. No doubt you will forgive me for the short episode this Sunday. So I hope you enjoy your week. I will see you on Wednesday. I hope the weather improves. Oh yes, we've got our table sale thing tomorrow, whatever it's called. That should be fun. I shall tell you all about that on Wednesday. Oh, yes, you're saying fantastic. I shall look forward to that. Not. No, I won't bore you. I never bore you, do I? Don't answer that. Just before I go, did you spot the deliberate mistake? Let me know. raiserants@protonmail.com. Look after yourselves. Take care. Be good. If you're bad, don't get caught. Email me if you've anything to say. raiserants@protonmail.com. And I will see you on Wednesday. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye for now.